Regional Ratepayers and Residents Association. Welcome, Mick.
G'day, Phil. Good to be here.
Just adjust these sound levels a little bit. Yeah, welcome. And I noticed that the Ratepayers Association has now been incorporated, so it's starting to move ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately, Olivia Kapanakis got us incorporated. So our next meeting, I think there's one coming up. It'll be on our website. Is next month. I think it's about the 9th. I think I'm not sure about that.
Mm-hmm. Talk on behalf of the community, other than potholes and.
Well, basically we're a group of people that are taking a more in-depth view of council. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, a lot of people are busy, have busy lives, and trying to read what council is doing and able to attend meetings. So we've got a lot of expertise there. Yep. People are interested in finance, so they can really look at those numbers that council are putting through to us and trying to indicate that they're good figures. Yep. Other people just might, like myself, just taking interest and just want value for money. I'm going to be retiring soon, so I want value for money. I'll get a lot less wage than I'm currently on, and so you want my value for money.
You're far too young to retire, Mick. We'll get on to business anyway. On the 8th of December, Council voted to put the special rate variation out in the public arena for comment.
Yep.
And how'd that meeting go?
Well, it was very lively, to say the least. The independent representative, Andrew Thaler, had about 45 people there, all lugging keyboards. Mm-hmm. And basically they were very loud, and they lost. Unfortunately, councillors Louise Frolick, Bob Stewart and Luke Williamson spoke about against it, and unfortunately the other 8, what we like to call the voting bloc, voted for it. And so it's out for comment. However, the have your say insists that you have to rate the choices of no rate rise, a 53% rate rise immediately, or a 55.25% rate rise over, I think it's 5 or 6 years, and you have to rate them. So basically, council, we might go lumbered with our second choice instead of a flat out no. So there's actually a petition on Facebook that says, against this whole thing.
Yeah, well, I think the Facebook was probably what the Mayor was referring to when she was talking about the keyboard warriors, and I share her views with that. There are other venues to to make your voice heard rather than doing it anonymously on Facebook. But with the survey, you don't have to go through the Your Say part of the website. You can do it as a written or an emailed response. So you can just say, nope, I don't want a rate increase, or even if you say no, I don't want one, you're still going to get a 4% one, which is the one that's been approved by
everything
IPAR.
Goes up.
Yep. But you can certainly vote against the others. You don't need to fill in that survey on Your Say. It can be done,
and the alternative, a lot of people find that hard. The alternative is that petition. There's a current petition, I think it's by the Snowy Monero advocates, maybe. There's a current petition circling around, and they want numbers, and then they're going to submit that whole petition of a list of signatures.
Oh, right, okay.
Against there. So, unfortunately, keyboard warriors, that's how the ratepayers, to qualify for the Ratepayers and Residents Association, you have to put in $1 on your using your credit card, which makes you a real person. So we won't have any of that sort of stuff. So
fair enough. No, that's great. And everything that'll come forward then will be through that association rather than
we'll
individual comments on Facebook.
It'll be a joint voice. Okay, expertise. Right. Obviously, we won't be able to please everybody all the time, or however that saying went.
Yep.
And but hopefully, with the more people we can get from, especially from the other areas around, the smaller villages, Breadbow, Adaminaby, if they like to come along and join the Ratepayers and Residents Association and be voting on things and issues that they think it's important. Yep. We're not going to do the little pothole in front of your house. Sorry, that's not what we're there for.
Yep.
We're there for the bigger issues.
Yep, great. And like you say, it'd be great to have a representative from each of those towns, so you get a good cross-section of the community.
Well, absolutely. Yep. Look at council at the moment. We've got, a couple of Jindabyne councillors and Cooma. We've got no one from Adaminaby. No one from Breadbow. Mm-hmm. Sort of Delegate Dalgety, you've got Bombala, one person. It'd be great to have a wide range, because there's issues particular to people that they're important to them and important to regions.
That's right.
Yeah.
So just on the special rate survey, it closes, for our listeners' information, closes at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday the 22nd of January 2023. So if listeners wish to comment on the proposed rate increases, they must do so before that closing date. There are 3 proposed rating options to consider. Those are: option 1 is a 53% increase for the 23-24 financial year. Option 2 is a 55.25% increase spread over 5 years. And option 3 is the 4% rate cap, which is the mandatory one, which has been approved by IPART through the New South Wales Government, and that's the smallest increase. I find the explanation on Council's website, on Your Say page on Council's website, very difficult to follow, and it's unclear if the rate variation continues at the same rate of increase for ensuing years. But there are some pop-up information gigs for people to attend in the new year, so you might be interested to go along and listen to those, and that might give you some assistance in making your decision. Now, Mick, the draft Rural Land Use Strategy and associated proposed local environment plan is out for public comment also, and comments on that document must be submitted by 11:59 p.m. on Monday the 9th of February 2023. What do you think of that document?
Well, I actually spoke against it drew attention to some of its issues at the last week's council meeting. It's 145 pages of a very comprehensive read that people are expected to read through, decipher and work out if there's a problem for individuals and their families. The new draft is actually worse than the old draft. It will reduce the financial value of rural land by removing building entitlements, by increasing minimum lot sizes for dwelling approvals. In many cases, these will go from, say, 40 hectares to over 200 in the case of Bombala. Reduced financial value will cause banks to probably call in mortgages and cancel lines of credit. We're already aware of cases where finance has been denied due to the risk of this strategy being approved. Our economic advisor has told us that land values may fall dramatically and that landowners will stop or slow their spending as a result to avoid overcapitalising. This will mean less money spent on new fencing, sheds, weed management, etc. It will be bad for contractors and rural suppliers alike. Ultimately, it will impact just the main streets, also the main streets of Cooma, Bombala, Jinbine, etc. RU2 zoning has been used inappropriately to wrap large areas up in red tape. Affected landowners will no longer be able to consider intensive livestock farming such as feedlots, and they'll need to lodge DAs for simple things like putting up a shed. We think this is just a zoning under a different name. This strategy will deliver lower land values and reduce spending on land maintenance and improvement and more red tape.
I think the RU1 zoning does allow feedlots, does it not?
You got me. I'm trying to remember.
I'm not sure. I was having a look at the RU2 fact sheet, and it said, no feedlots allowed. But I think more intensive agriculture can be approved in the R1, which is more but I'd need to check that.
Yeah, as I said, it's 145 pages. I haven't memorised it yet, and unfortunately I didn't bring the copy in with me.
And if you add the LEP to that...
the LEP, the rate variation, everything, all over Christmas. This is one of the things that Councillor Bob Stewart spoke about. We don't need this stuff over Christmas. No, people want to wind down, have a break.
Yep.
We've had 3 years of COVID and fires and et cetera, et cetera. We don't need this to try and digest this thing over Christmas.
So it's been said the rural land use strategy will decrease weeds. What are your thoughts on that claim?
Well, apparently we don't think so. That idea comes from a small study in the Southern Highlands which looked at one small subdivision. The smallest lot sizes were lower than our current 40 hectares for RU1 land. So the fact that people who own their land will manage their weeds or not based on their interest to maintain their land, their finances, and whether council weed officers enforce the rules. By raising the minimum lot sizes for dwellings, people who want a rural lifestyle block will need to buy larger lots. If all they want is a home, a couple of horses and a few sheep, they don't need 100 or 200 hectares, and they may not want to buy tractors and spraying units, etc. to maintain that much land. So this would probably lead to more weeds, more feral animals, and less land being used for farming. In other words, the exact opposite of what we want or need.
Yeah, we do find that the weeds depends on what the commitment is of the landowner as to what actually gets addressed.
Yeah,
and even some of the big fellas don't do it, and some of the 5 acre hobby farmers don't do it either.
Yeah,
it's a commitment thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's no use you sort of looking after your weeds and your property if the people around you are not looking after theirs, because
exactly.
it needs to be a cooperative effort.
Yep, for sure. So what does that rural land use strategy mean for young farmers, Mick?
Well, we're afraid that reducing building entitlements and increasing red tape is very bad news for young people trying to enter the industry. Banks may be wary about lending in a shire where the council destroys land value at the stroke of a pen and will likely require larger deposits. We have spoken to one bank that has confirmed that they now require a 40% deposit for rural land purchase in the area. So today a young person could buy 40 hectares, build a home and start an apple orchard or farm chicken or pigs or even superfine merinos. But if this strategy is approved, they'll need to buy, say, 200 hectares to build a home in the same area. While the per acre cost of land will fall due to the strategy, young people will need to fork out even more to buy the larger lots needed for a home to be approved. And they will need to compete with the older cashed up escapees from Sydney and Canberra looking for the tree change for the larger lots that come to market. This strategy will be all bad for young aspiring farmers.
Fair enough. And I've heard there are risks due to climate change policy that need to be considered.
Yep. Councillor Williamson, you might know, is an experienced economist and a cattle and berry farmer, and he's pointed out and stated previously that climate change policy will have a major impact on the cost to produce meat in the future. The Albanese government has just signed up to Joe Biden's 30% reduction in methane by 2030. At the same time, that lab-grown meat substitutes are entering the market and vegetarianism is increasing. He says that these are very big problems for our region's agricultural industry that currently is 90% focused on meat and wool production. So the answer is really to diversify. We've had discussions with peak bodies for most agricultural products. They have confirmed that for most products, farm commercial viability can be achieved